recording going here. It is Wednesday, the 4th, the 6:45 showing. So today we're going to be going through a full IMCA race night, backgate entry, creating lineups, connecting MRP live, results, points and payout, managing rainouts and cancellations, and printing checks. So I'm going to flip the script a little. We're going to do a rainout and cancellation first. So let's do it. So here we have the season management portion, and we have our events here. Let's go into one. And let's say we'll do the 9th here. So let's say the 9th, the event on the 9th, for whatever reason, I just need to rain that out. So I'll go into event status here. We can have that. We can mark it as a rainout. We're also able to put in a message here. So this is going to be a little bit different than last year. So fans who have the MyRacePass app and favorite your track will get push notifications for various things that happen. And one of them is a rainout. So on a rainout, we can put in that. We can put in a push notification here. So we can cancel it. Let's say we'll cancel it due to rain. That notification will be sent out. To make sure that we don't accidentally send out the wrong one, we'll have to type in the Monday notification right here, understand everything, have a look here, and confirm. So this is going to send a message, a push notification to every single fan or driver that has favorited our track. So they're going to get a message saying that that race has been rained out. There's a few different stipulations to this, so it does have to be within 7 days of the event. So it does have that time frame there. It does have to be an event that's in the future, so you can't rain out an event that's already happened. It won't send out a notification for that. And then also, that recency, and they do have to be, again, a favorite to the track. So they have to log into the app and favorite your racetrack, so they get that notification. So really push your fans and drivers to let folks know to favorite the track. It's free for them to do. It's free for them to download the app, and then I'll notify folks for that. We'll do other notifications as well. Other ones that are coming are there now. It will notify when news articles are posted onto the site. So you got that going for you. You can put when news articles are posted, it'll show that. It will show if you're using the transponders through MRP Live, it'll show when the first green flag happens for a non hot laps or qualifying race. So it'll show when those are live. It'll notify them for that. And there's more coming. So that's something that we're going to be, there's a real big push there for 2020 is to get better communication with folks using the MyRacePass app. But let's say I'm going to edit the status back, so we're going to set it back to an as scheduled event. You do have that option there. Within 10 minutes, it won't send. So if you made a mistake, you do it within 10 minutes, it won't send out the notification. So we'll click here on this, and let's say, for example, we just want to completely move a date to a new day. So this date just wasn't working. We're going to move it. From the 9th, we're just going to move it to, let's move it back. We'll move it back to the 12th. Well, we can copy it down here at the bottom. We can put in that copy, and it'll copy over our event and our times. Here, we can add a new name to it, and we'll add it. So the event is copied, but we're not done yet. We'll still need to remove the event. And to do that, we'll just click in on the event in the schedule, click this blue edit button, and remove it from the schedule. Once it's removed from the schedule, it won't show anywhere. So it's gone for you there. So you have that option there for you as well. If you have any questions about anything that I've gone over, whether it be the push notifications or changing dates, Alt-H is the place to do that, to ask those questions. Feel free to do so. I will get to every question that is asked of me. So um, feel free to ask those questions. You also have a spot there down at the bottom to target me directly. So if you'd like to speak to me privately without me, ask it kind of anonymously, you can do that through there. I won't call out your name, so you have that option if you need. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. Odds are, if you have a question, someone else has that same question too. So feel free to ask away. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup here. And we're going to be using the Westhold system here to connect to MRP Live. So let's get that started. We're going to go into race management, and I'm going to work in this 360 sprint class today. I'm going to do a few different options. So I'm going to do a IMCA kind of normal night. So with this one, we're not going to do a pill draw, but we are going to do transponders. We are going to allow rentals. So with this here, each class can have its own. So if there's a specific class that needed to draw, we could do that. We also can save that as a default so it won't draw pill numbers for us in the future. So this isn't a screen that you'll probably come back to again and again and again, but I do like to show this just so that folks know that you have that ability there. So let's go into MRP Live. I'm going to open up my transponder system, and I'm going to connect it, and I'll show what we'll need to do to get this up and running. So I'm going to hit launch from web. When I hit launch from web, it's going, I actually had two MRP Lives open, so I'm going to close one, and we'll launch it here. There we go. So let's take a look here. So we'll switch it to Race Manager because that's what we're going to be using. And we're going to see a few different things here. So we're going to copy them over. So I'm going to copy this IP address right here. So I'm copying the one from Westhold, and I'm putting that right here. The R monitor, I'm going to copy this 50,000, and I'm going to put that right here. That R monitor is probably going to be 50,000 right here. Generally, that's what it is. We're going to make sure this Enable Network button is clicked. Then, inside of our computer, we're going to, so for me, this is inside the C drive. I have this Race Manager here and the Assign folder. We're going to go to there. That's going to be where it's going to be looking for those lineups. So when we send the lineups, it's going to look for them there. We also have this MRP Live connection code right here. When I hit launch from web, it actually copied that code over for me, but I could copy and paste that and put that right here. So this is what links it up to our computer. This is what's going to link it up to this event. And this is what's going to, where it's going to send the lineups when it's done. So each one has its own little function here. We're going to hit connect. So this is connected. It's good to go. I'm going to, well, looks good. Take a look at the assign folder. We'll minimize that. We'll come back to it here in a minute. But for now, we're actually going to go into our entries, and we're going to start entering in our drivers. So I'm going to go to this 360 sprint class. We can switch in between our different classes here. And I'm going to enter in a driver. So to start, this list here is all of the drivers who have raced with me in the past. They could have raced at a previous event, or they could have completed an online registration. I'm going to filter this out here by first name, last name, or car number. See, we'll have Matt, and we're going to see a few things about him. So for one, we have his default car number in as the 01. He has a car owner in there. We also can find team here we can see all of the owners that he's raced with before. We can make a new one if we need to as well. So we can add a new team. Team and owner are interchangeable in this context. So by default, he has it going to the owner. So Daniel Rand here. We have his own car. His car has its own transponder. It's the 1001. We've marked that down. We can also mark if it's rented. We know how old he is. He's claimed his profile. We have his address on file, and looks like we got that because he completed online registration right here. We're also able to use a lineup override, so we can start him at the back of all heats or all races. So let's say that he was a rookie and he didn't feel comfortable starting up front, or we just didn't like him. We could set him to the back of all races here, or the heats. So we'll check him in. He's good to go. And we could definitely continue this process of putting in the filter here and checking in those drivers. But there's other ways to enter in a driver. Let's say, for example, we search here. We just cannot find this driver. We can use this search to look for him up here. So if that driver exists in the system, we can find him. If that driver doesn't, we're able to find him right here or create him. So that's okay. I will give a few different warnings here about creating a driver. So for one, make sure that you search, when you use this search, to search by last name first. That'll pull up all of the different profiles here. So if you search by last name first, that'll catch Matt or Matthew, that sort of deal. We are also changing it so that it will search for drivers who are in your driver list first. That's a change that's going to be happening here very soon. So it'll go by that. But try not to create new drivers if you can help it. Duplicate drivers can be a problem. So we're using IMCA lineups, for example. If we created a brand new driver in here, it will throw off that lineup. It will treat him as if he was a brand new driver. It will give him brand new points. Start them over again. So we want to avoid that if at all possible. A good way to avoid that is to use the scan barcode right here. Every driver can claim their profile like Matthew's done here. When he does that, inside the MyRacePass app, he has a special spot that you can scan. You can scan that. Some drivers, especially if you're using, if they're a sanctioned driver with USRA or WSOTA, will have a card. You can scan that card as well. Good part about this is that each driver can only have one card per profile. So you should only have the one, especially if they claimed it. So you're making sure that you have the same one each time. You're going to speed up quite a bit the process of checking people in. So that's really huge as well. So I highly recommend using the barcode scanning. We have a scanner that we recommend. Works out really, really well. Can scan phones. So we do have some questions on driver profile. We have a female driver who gets married. Is it relatively easy to change their last name on their profile? Yeah, so you can actually change that inside of the manage drivers. There'll be a spot there when you manage. Well, let's go here. So inside the manage drivers, you can click them and you can do this name/city change. A driver can also actually claim their profile and make that change themselves. So they can request the change to be made. So it'll be good done there. I had another one. Notice it said Matt was from New York, but his address is from Lincoln. That's intentional. Matt was born and raised in New York City, but lives in Lincoln now. He just moved. Same. So for me, I would say that my hometown is a small town in Nebraska named Verdon, but I live in Lincoln. So just kind of, you can have that. You can also have mailing addresses or different business things. So your mailing address may or may not be the same as the two. So that's kind of why he has his there. But those are really great questions. Again, Alt and H, the spot to ask any questions. I'm always happy to answer them. And if I don't answer them immediately, I will get back to them. I'm going to answer every single question that y'all have. So another way we can enter in the drivers is to import from a previous event. So let's say we had a 2-day show. It was Friday into Saturday, and we had a lot of the same drivers that were going to be there. We could actually copy them over. So I'm just going to copy over Corey here with his transponder. If we're doing pill numbers, we could transfer pill numbers as well. I'll copy that driver over for me, their whole information. The last way we can do this is a speed entry button. This speed entry button, essentially, as long as we don't have a duplicate car number or a duplicate transponder number, I'll just check them in here. I'm going to enter in all of the transponder numbers here. This is going to be the long transponder number. And I am limited due to the demo mode for the transponders to just these 10. But you can have more drivers if you would like. Again, Alt and H the spot to ask any questions. Sec here. So we're going to move right along and go into the races tab here. So you'll see this previous races. You can actually click here and see, I believe 50, up to 50 different events that were run with this class. And so you can actually copy over the exact setup that you had on that date. So I could copy over exactly as I had it on January 17th. What's useful about this is, let's say I have 10 drivers, and I know that every single time I have 10 drivers with this class, I run it exactly the same way. I don't change anything at all. You can do that. You can just copy it over exactly, and you're good to go. Or let's say you ran a special event last year, and you want to keep it exactly the same as you had it, you could do that. So let's add in our new lineup here. So we'll have our heat and our feature. We're going to have our laps set here. So I'm going to do 5 and 25. It's going to add them in. And then we can set our transfers. So we can set as much information as we want here. You can change the name, add sponsors, change up how we need it. But the big thing is that we want to say who's going to move on to the next race. So for me, I'm going to say that everyone is going to move since I have 10. We can actually set it up per race. So it's going to take drivers out of each individual race here. So for example, something like this will give me 6, 3, and 3. You're also able to add in more heats if you need to. You could add a B feature by adding in more races up here. You can also change how many drivers per row there are. So you can go 1, 2, or 3 wide. We'll save it. And then we can move on to our lineups. So we could definitely just put in our drivers here, click them, move them around, X amount there. And if you want to do that, you are more than welcome to. But a faster way to do that would be to calculate the lineups here. And I've actually set up the lineups that I'm more likely to use. So in this case, I have my IMCA point average heat right up here. So it's going to do that. If you need to set up your specific lineups, you can do that inside of the lineup settings here in settings. This is going to give you the shortcut so that you can find the ones that you're more likely to use. So I have the opening night feature, the point average feature, a lot of different ones here just for running demonstrations, but you can see all of them here. We can even rename them to specific things that we wanted to. So we're going to calculate our lineup. I'll do that point average heat. I'll calculate that out. We can actually see that our driver that we moved to the back, you can see the little arrow there. We have a report. We can see what their point average was right there, right when we calculated it. So you can see why it moved those drivers where it did. All right. So now we're going to use the transponder integration. So what I did here, I clicked MRP Live, I clicked Send Lineups. And then the Assign folder, here we're going to see we have our heat drivers, and I'm just going to start them. So inside of here, we're going to see our heat right there. And as the drivers are going around the track, it's going to be updating that for me. If I throw a yellow, we can see that. It's actually going to auto finish here in the next couple laps. Since I put in 5 laps, I'm going to finish it now. So from here, it's going to keep going. But as soon as I hit stop, that's going to be its cue to send the results over. So we can let it keep going or make any adjustments here that we need to. But as soon as I hit stop, I'll do that. Then you can go into the results. So we did that. All of that here. And so it'll pull over our results for us. So do you have to manually start and stop each race? You do have to throw the flags, yes. So that way it knows which ones are good and which ones aren't. It does have an auto finish. I just threw the checkered flag because I could. And you do have to hit the stop button at the end. That way you can know, or the system will know, that you're done with the results inside of that race. So I've moved in all of my results here. We can move drivers around. So if Patrick Prawn actually finished up here, we move him there. We also can set him if he did not finish, did not start, or disqualified, black flagged. We're not using passing points, but if we were, we could also use this no passing points. We can share this to our social media pages from here. And as soon as we hit save as completed, now it'll update a few different places. So automatically it's going to update for us on the MyRacePass app. If you have a website through MyRacePass, it'll update the MyRacePass website that you have. It'll update on the website, myracepass.com, and in your track profile. It's a lot of different places. Same with the lineups. It'll actually update that automatically for you. So when we calculate our A feature lineups, and we're going to be doing that, the point average ones, it'll do that here and calculate that out for us. Again, that'll update on the app. It's free for fans and drivers to view the MyRacePass app from their phone. They can download that from the App Store or Google Play, wherever their preferred app purchasing or app downloading platform of choice. They can do that. It's, again, free for them to view it. So I highly encourage it. And also, they can get those notifications there, doing that as well. Now, this process, we're just going to send our lineups again. So the lineups are sent. Inside the assignments, we have our A feature. And again, we're just going to start the next race. The race will start, and then we can continue to just let it go. Inside of MRP Live, I like having this tab open because you can see the connection, see what's going on. We can also, this is similar to what a fan would see inside of the app. We can see the best lap or positions gained, or click on a specific driver and see that there. Let's finish that. Oh, threw it a little early, a little late rather. There we go. So we'll stop it. Into results we go. And we're good to go. So Alt and H, the place to ask any questions. I know we did have some questions in there, and I will answer those. We get to the question spot here in a sec. Getting there pretty quick. But if you have any questions, Alt and H is the place to do that. Go into points and pay. So before the race started, I actually went in here to points/pay schemes, and I added in the championship points that I want to use. So in this case, I have a global sanction one for IMCA. This will do a lot of the things that the IMCA rules dictate. This works exactly based off those rule set. So we keep on top of that. So you can add that in here. But when you add it in, which I've done, you can see that you're also able to add in all the different payouts that you want to use. So that's what we'll do. We have our points, so I'll use the IMCA modifieds. We can use our pay scheme, so I'll use this Wednesday one. It's going to remember the points and pay schemes that you use per class, and you'll have that here. You can add it, and then it'll add in, based on how we set up our points and pay, everything here. We can add adjustments in here, so we can add or remove points or pay. So let's say we had a sponsor sponsoring 4th place. Gives 75 extra dollars for this class. We can do that, add that in here. Then we're able to create payments. So we'll create payments down here. Make sure you do that even if you're not printing out checks. It does work towards end of the year reports. We can see all of our drivers and owners in here, and we're able to export this to the desktop version of QuickBooks or create checks. So we can create checks right here. These are going to be the 3 receipt style checks. Create them. And then if we have those addresses in there, they will show up on the check. Best way to get those addresses is to do the online registration. Online registration will put that into the contact list. You can also enter them into the contact list, or inside of the entries, there's places to update contact information. But yeah, from here, you have that available. We also have different reports that you can run to if you need for signing off the points and pay. You have lineup reports, point average reports, quite a few different things there. So really pretty straightforward, pretty easy to get going. If we made a mistake or we had something change, so let's say Corey Coldcuts won here, but he actually was way underweight. We can disqualify him here. So we've disqualified him, but it's due to the way that points work. Assigning points works kind of like taking a snapshot, like a Polaroid. So you have to recalculate. So you'll just hit this big recalculate button here. And I'll use that same point/pay scheme. Let calculate, and it's going to adjust it here and zero out our disqualified driver. And then we'll need to go back here and just hit that create payments again. And I'll do that and just zero out the money that we paid him initially. That'll adjust that for us. But that would be a pretty quick night of racing. I'm going to leave it open for questions for the next few minutes. If you do have those, Alt and H, the spot to ask any questions. I'm going to get back to some of the different questions that we had while it's here. So let's go up here. Will we ever be able to have a nickname or preferred name show up on the lineup sheets rather than legal name? For example, John is what he needs to put on his license, but everyone at the racetrack knows him as Buddy. He wants the lineup to say Buddy, not John. Never say never. It's not something that's actively being worked on currently, but it is something that might be able to be changed in the future. Um, not, but like I said, I'm not sure. It's not something that's being worked on currently, but it is a good idea. On a driver profile, if we have a female driver who gets married, is it relatively easy to change the last name on the profile? So yeah, again, you can go into the manage drivers and request a name change here. So you just click on the driver, and there's a spot to do a name/city change. Those all get sent to me, and I review them. Or probably be better, the driver could claim their own profile and request the name change themselves, which is what I'd recommend. Kind of making the driver do that. Driver that claims their profile not only can change their name um, right along with that, but they're also able to have the hard card in on the app, which is huge. So again, Alt and H, the spot to ask any questions. Leaving it open for questions for the next few minutes. And this is your time. So if you have any questions or if there's something you'd like to see or elaborate on, feel free to ask those. Again, it is your time to ask those sorts of questions. With 2 or more transponders, why can't all of them pop up in entries instead of just one? Do you mean if they own 2 or more transponders? Or because essentially there needs to be just one. There can be only one. It helps us determine which one they're actively using, so we're not looking for something that isn't there. It helps the transponder system not get confused and get mismatches. Helps make the data more correct. Really be why. Well, those drivers, the drivers that would change from heat to feature would need to let you know, otherwise they're not going to show up correctly. If you change them inside of the entry list, they will adjust there. But that they really shouldn't need to change between heats to feature, unless if they keep them charged. Can you send multiple class lineups at once, or do you have to do them within? Oh yeah, you can send multiple lineups all at the same time. So I only had one active at each time, but each one that has this blue, it'll have a blue flag. We'll send all at the same time. Um, so anyone that is all there will do it. So you can have it send every single heat lineup that you have and every single feature lineup. So yeah, that's totally fine. It will do that when you send lineups. It'll send them all over. Those are great questions. Alt and H the spot to ask those questions. So other things that you have here to look at here, like I said, a lot of different reports. So let's say we just wanted to do just our one, so we'll just do the 360s. A little trick here is that you can actually toggle all the different pages. So any one that are kind of minimized like this won't print. Just the ones that we want will do that. So we could do just our 360s here, and I'll print out just those guys. Same with just the owners. Except our disqualified dude, he doesn't get any pay. Some of these reports are also customizable. You also go to individual spots. So like this one, if we just wanted one race and I only wanted my A features, and have it here. So all of my A features will print there. So a lot of reports here have different ways to get to specific races that you need to get them to. We'll leave it open for the next few next few minutes here. Yep, that's also true. So yeah, entering registrants, if you don't use speed entry, well, actually, it'll show up even if you do. Inside of here, if you click on a driver, it'll show right here. So even if we use the speed entry, you can switch in between. So this is all the transponders a driver has. We have record of a driver using to help switch in between. So if they keep using the same two, you can always switch in between them. Let them know that way. But that is a good point. Um, and again, also in here, a lot of other things that we can do. We're going to assign hard cards in here. If you had hard cards, you could do those. Delete competitors, add information. So a lot of different things in here. And again, the scan barcode, very huge in terms of saving a lot of time and making sure you have the right driver, especially when you're using a point average system like this. You got to make sure that you do that. Inside of here, inside of the season management, you actually have, or the knowledge base for season management, you can actually find the scanners. Here's the one that we recommend here. This guy. This one works really, really well, especially on phones. Some of the events I've seen, I had a person take a picture of an actual hard card that they had, and it scanned that. So it'll work out really well for you. So, with the hard card, it doesn't have a class actually. It's just going to be the driver's profile information. The reason being is that um, you could have that driver race in multiple classes. So all of my guys, you would just scan in for each class that they race at. Can you hand key the barcode? Yes. Some of them might get a little long, but I'll show that off here. Let me see here. Get that app open. I have a couple drivers that I have claimed. So with his card, it is 190272. Yep, one card per driver, driver profile. Yep, should really only have the one. But yeah, you can just enter the driver into each class that they race at. So if we have Corey Coldcuts, I believe is signed in multiple times. Yep, he's signed into the 410s. We could have him signed in all of the different places. Same with our, he didn't sign up for late models. What do you know? The purpose of differentiating a transponder owned or rented is for the track. So some tracks rent them out. You can actually have a report here that will show owned versus rented transponders. So we can have our transponder list. We can actually manage which ones are rented, and then you can have them signed back out for them. That's the primary idea there. Yep. Sometimes a driver could end up with two cards if they made a duplicate. So if they have a duplicate, if you ever see a driver have a Z'd out card, just take it. But we'll make sure that when we combine duplicates and things, they don't have cards. But it should cut down on a lot of that. Yep, that the transponder list report does come in really handy. Yep, helps you hunt down different drivers so they don't make away with your with your rented transponder. It makes for a good good sheet. I know a lot of people will just take a driver's license, like take a driver's license or something to make sure, or a deposit or something. But yeah, that's the primary thing there, so that you have that by each class, so that they don't make away with it. But that's the primary reason there for rented. You can always change that right here, this box. Same with the owner, if you have an owner in there. So it's a very good thing to do. Make sure that you don't have anybody getting away from you. Again, Alt H is the place to do it. I'm going to leave it open for the next few minutes. If anyone has any sort of questions or anything at all, just let us know. Always happy to help out. Again, if you have any other questions after the meeting or after everything's over, you're just like, forgot. Happens to me all the time, I swear. Feel free to reach out. You can reach us at support@myracepass.com, and we will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. For now, I'm actually just going to take down the attendance. So put down your name and what track you're with. And I will take that down for the sanction attendance, anybody that needs to attend for the sanction reasons, and for also for a drawing. So we're happy to take down for that. I had a question about setting up the season for running points over the summer. To do that, you would just set that up inside of season management. You configure that. There we do have other webinars that go over exactly, everything there for configuring. But in this case, I set up which classes I'm going to be running. And then inside of events here, you just click add schedule. We have our schedule created. Then you can add events, and you just choose the events you want to add. So let's do, well, I said summer, so let's pick 3 events in the summer. And then you choose the classes that you want to run. Like I said, other webinars go over these. You would really want to look at those inside of the help videos here. We have a playlist that goes over all that. I believe those are the first 2 that we did go over setting up a schedule. There's me again. You can find that myracepass.com/YouTube. Be the place to view that. Yeah, it's been great speaking with you today. And I will be doing another one of these webinars. The next one is Saturday. So Saturday, 3:15 and 5:30 Central Time, and then Tuesday the 10th, 5:30, 6:45, and then Thursday the 12th, 5:30, 6:45. So they're the last few webinars that we have available. So feel free to be on the lookout for those. And thanks for attending, and hope you all have a great rest of the night.